Welcome back, everyone. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Wei-Sen Lee, Secretary General, NCDR, Taiwan, to deliver a keynote lecture.
Good afternoon, dear colleague of ITT Rookie. Of course, here we have the faculty and also potential young generations. And my topic today, don't worry, no equation, no formula. You can just use imagination to understand what is the future we can work out together. As discussion with Professor Koma about AI, I agree. If AI works, I could be out of job next day. So, but however, before AI can dominate disaster risk management, I think to leverage science and technology for the better disaster risk management is very important issue in our life. I always described disaster risk management as the invisible shield to protect our life, protect our society. It's invisible, so no one can feel it exists unless something happens. So the destiny for disaster manager, always a learning process. We never receive a lot of applause because never ever had a chance to prove our value immediately. Only after 20 years, 30 years, they say, okay, because 30 years ago, we implemented something so we can reduce impact today. We're not like the search and rescue people who can help people out from the breeze or put out a fire. So they got a spotlight. But disaster manager always lonely. But we need your devotion into this community. So very important to mix DRR, disaster risk reduction, science and technology into our daily life. Of course, here we have a lot of students. ITT Rookie is most senior engineering college in all India. I think at the left-hand side, everyone understands is moment diagram and share diagram. Why I use this one? Because I'm a structural engineer. For a structural engineer to solve the problem easy, no matter is the static determined or static indeterminate. We had all method to find exact answer. So it's training on your textbook. However, one day, if you were a disaster manager, your job is trying to find a solution. Solution means you need to compromise between some demand and supply, some mutual interest, some challenges, some hopes. So you must deliver a balanced interest solution. So this first slide, I want to tell you, though today I try to provide some possible solution, but in the future, with the future technology, we can have the better solution for this. But before you become disaster manager, you should still answer the question on your textbook. Like Taiwan, like India, we all suffer a lot of the impact from natural disaster. The upper part is about the typhoon. You know, in Taiwan, the most deadly typhoon, it was Typhoon Morocco, hit Taiwan in 2009. I was working in the Central Emergency Operations Center for 14 days. I witnessed the whole tragedy. Then I know there's something more I have to learn from disaster. So always kind of the golden phrase for the disaster manager, learn from disaster and live with nature hazard. This is our destiny. Another very big challenge, like our topic today about earthquake. So Chichi earthquake is the most devastating earthquake in the recent 100 years in Taiwan history. Only one earthquake took life about 2.5 thousand. But Typhoon Morocco, one landslide also took 400 people lives. So as a disaster manager, as I mentioned in my welcome remarks, how do we reduce casualty? Always the biggest challenge to disaster manager. The first one, Typhoon Morocco, 700. The second one, the Chichi earthquake, 2.5 thousand, also challenged us. So how about my office? National Science and Technology Center for Disaster Reduction. And if you have my business card, on my business card.gov, You think, Dr. Lee, you must be kind of government official in charge of disaster management. Sorry, I'm not government official or government servant. I just government hired disaster manager, help being a bridge between research community and practitioner. That is a very important role in modern society. Every science we need interpreter to explain what the science played important role in their community. So that is my office role, a bridge between research community and practitioner. The practitioner could be government official, could be community leader, could be everyone, or parent and family. So how we use science and technology to improve. So this is why you can look the chart here. My office almost had 150 full-time staff. You say, wow, Dr. Lee, you had so many people to work with. But compared with the type of natural disaster, still small number. But the most important part at my office, we kind of the office of all hazard approach. You see, we had the background of natural science, social science, engineering, like myself, emergency management, even business management. So we want to integrate everyone's expertise to understand in case of earthquake or typhoon or flood, what kind of impact to our society, what kind of solution we can have brainstorming to find out some solution. So this is why NCDR becomes so unique. We are so unique about all hazard approach institution, and we are so unique because we close to government, we close to community, and even we close to our international partners. And very important thing, NCDR, we emphasize a lot of services. Of course, we publish journal paper. That's a part of our job. But very important thing, we provide a lot of services like science and technology transfer. You say, Dr. Lee, so interesting, so strange. What's mean the technology transfer? Look at our supervising authority. National Science and Technology Center Council is the national kind of ministry level. It's our supervising authority. And NITC also launched a lot of research products. And we have kind of consensus with the NITC. Everything they have the good output from the school professor. The NCDR can use it for implementation. So we had a good mechanic about to finding advanced solutions and question to the research community. So we are so unique. So even we have limited 150 people, but we can leverage resources in our society to do more. Another one is science and technology innovation. We try to make something ordinary, but with the value-added process to make a new innovation to change our life. Another one is knowledge-based. Want to explain why you have used this one, how you can implement in your daily life. Another one, database, and of course, very important thing, international collaboration. Our major product, a lot, but one of our major mission, like from May to end of November, is kind of typhoon season, rainy season in Taiwan. We will become the 24/7 in case we have typhoon, we have flash flood. So in that case, we will help emergency operation. Say, Dr. Lee, search and rescue operation is your job. No, look at my side. I'm not good for search and rescue, right? So our job is to provide information intelligence to help decision maker to reduce casualty, identify some the impact-based preparedness so we can help people. So that's our job in case of emergency operation. And in Taiwan, we not ever walk alone, no matter from the central government level, local government level, private sector level, about international level, we can work together, try to find our solution and try to learn from each other. So as I explained, my office is very glad today we can have new partnership with IIT Rookie. So we can work together. So this is my office structure. We have a lot of divisions. See, from meteorology division, slopeland and hydraulic division, policy and socio-economic division, earthquake and man-made disaster division, information division, climate change division. You can see my office include almost all kind of hazard that Taiwan could face. So ACDR and existing and future risks. by systematic teamwork among the disciplines. So I have to discuss discipline with the different backgrounds. Sometimes discussion with social science. Believe me, sometimes discussion with the background of engineering and social science is a totally different approach. For an engineer student, they're good at bringing some summary. But for a social science student, they're good at description. They have a good skill of description, very complicated scenario. But engineer, we want to design. We always want to derive some principles so we can follow the guideline to design everything. So this is sometimes I have a conflict with my wife. My wife is social science. When he tells a story, I want to know what's the end of the story. I never pay attention to the process. So she always complains, honey, why you never ever pay attention to my talk? I think, can you jump to the conclusion first? So that is the difference between the engineer and the social scientist. But that is a very important part in my office because we include point of view from different disciplines. So we can have a better and comprehensive observation in case of disaster. So why, the disaster risk reduction is so important? Look at this chart. This is one report published by Maplecroft, is the insurance company in 2004 on the map. Taiwan, Japan, United States, and China. The category is extremely considered about economic activity exposure. I think especially this part. World top ICT industrial cluster are exposed to several natural hazards. Taiwan. I think most of you might use Apple, iPhone. So a lot of chips may be made in Taiwan. So consider about exposure of economic activity. Taiwan is very high around the world. I think India, number 5, also high. But when you look at the same company, also have one thing to discuss about socio-economic resilience in 2013. From this chart, highlight Taiwan and Japan are kind of low risk considered about our mitigation, our preparedness, our response to major disaster. I summarize some basic figure why Taiwan could be listed at low risk. First, application of science and technology. As I explained, the role of my office apply science and technology for practical operation. Second thing, transparent risk. In Taiwan, about the floods, landslide, soil liquefaction, fault zone, flood, we are open to the general public. They can type their address, especially my office is integrated, has a map. You just type your address, you can identify the risks nearby your home. In 2004, when NCDR first published the first version of the flood risk, we didn't get a lot of applause. We received a lot of complaint. Why complaint? The construction company complained because we identified the construction site with high risk. They think our job devalue their asset price. They complain to our office, but years goes by. Now you can see a lot of promotion of kind of the house dealer. Oh, I checked the website of NCDR. It shows that your house you want to buy is located in a low risk area. You see, we think about the 15 years. People use different attitude to look at the risk map. Once upon a time, they think only tell ugly truth. Now they think it's way they know their risk. They can do something to improve. So this is a very important thing. How we use information intelligence to change behavior of our society, make them understand they can make some decision before a disaster happens. And another one is about a well-organized legal framework. I think like every country, ever since we have large-scale disasters, like in Taiwan, in 1999, we had a huge earthquake. Then we decided to have a law to guide disaster management, even like Japan, even like US. But never enough. In 2009, we had a typhoon Morocco, so we had to amend the law again. Another very important part, I think also very active in India, participation by the private sector. The private sector, not just about research community, but also include very important is community itself and NGO and NPO. They can work with my office to promote idea of disaster risk reduction, something like community-based disaster risk reduction. Why I always use Typhoon Morocco as one example to tell very important progress at my office. Because from this example, we'll learn about, though we have developing over 10 years, 2009 is 10 years after Chichi earthquake. From 1999 to 2009, the government already invested huge money on disaster risk reduction, especially through assistance of science and technology. So we thought we have the good capacity to cope with any major challenge. But after Typhoon Morocco, we think it's too far to think we are fully prepared, because only one landslide in Xiaoleng village in Kaohsiung city buried 400 people alive. Because you see here, this is before, this after. The whole mountain covered the village immediately. So 400 people buried alive. We thought they already received evacuation. So they might go to one evacuation center is in elementary school. The only bridge leading out of the village was washed away by flash flood. So they no way to go. So 400 people life just disappeared. So after the Typhoon Morocco, my office learned 3 major items. So this is why my office became very unique, because of information. First of all, too much or too little information at emergency operation. At that time, I remember I was in EOC. Even my office telephone were fully occupied by people asking for help, because a lot of the disconnected communication between people in the north and the south, plain area and the mountains area. So too little information to reach out the most devastating area. But too much information is too many people trying to cope, want to find their loved ones. Another issue is, at that time in Taiwan, already had a lot of system of Central Weather Bureau, system of the brief flow, system of the inundation, system of everything. But you know, the most of decision maker at the EOC, sometimes they are not expert of disaster management. Their background is about the law, their background is about the economics. Though they have the capability of decision making, but they cannot integrate so much information in their mind, right? So we need a system to integrate information together. And most important thing, we have to make the information clear for action and intelligence. Another thing is lack common operational picture. What does that mean? Because the too many systems, when everyone wants to report, they use their own system. We have one problem. So we didn't speak on the same page. So we can build good kind of the information exchange. So we failed to have the coordinate operation. So this is my office job right at Typhoon Morocco. At that time, the Vice Prime Minister assigned my office to integrate information in Taiwan. So immediately, most agencies want to join my office, share information with my office, free and in real time. So very important part, information sharing among key stakeholders can make the disaster risk management so differently. I think I will use more example to explain. Another one is the point that emphasized by my director about the timely operation. How the information intelligence help to make a timely operation. Never say, oh, we are sorry for that because we are too late to inform them to do something. We don't want kind of thing happen again during Typhoon Morocco. During Typhoon Morocco, I still remember something in my mind for my lifetime. Right before the landslide hit, we make suggestion. Before it have the torrential rain in mountainous area, better have evacuation. But at that time, in the southern part of Taiwan, still sunny day. So local government say, can wait for the tomorrow to do the evacuation. But because a late decision, several hundred people die because of the late decision. So this is a beautiful part of my office. We integrate more than 400 data sets from 40 government agencies, including like rain gauge data, like real-time image CCTV, even water level gauge, a lot of information just coming to my office directly. You might ask one question, Dr. Lee, why this company, this agency want to share information with my office free? They never charge us any cent of us, because my office tried to create kind of win-win situation. What is win-win situation? Everything we use their information will highlight their contribution on our PowerPoint slide to president, to premier. So the president, the premier will know their contribution. In case they apply new funds to support upgrade their system, most of the time my office will be the reviewer, like my boss. He will give high score because since we support them to upgrade their system, we can also receive quality information to improve our work. So this is a win-win situation. So I think that's a very important part, create kind of good environment, enabling environment about information exchange in the whole government with the no matter government agency or research community. So for this kind of procedure, we can have not just about action and about application. So my office, we never satisfied. We have database, have the information. I say information intelligence for action and application. And I explained the role of my office in whole Taiwan. Though I said I am not government servant, I just government hired disaster manager. So in somehow I'm a civilian, because depending on the pension system, I'm a civilian. I'm kind of labor. But by law, the government have to establish NCDR. And NCDR have kind of the obligation and the mandate to support, no matter for disaster risk reduction or even at the time of emergency, will become a 24/7. In the future, you have a chance to visit my office. You will see, in case of the disaster, we will be very busy to help allow the key stakeholder to reduce disaster. So even according to the law, we have authority to be part of the national system. But we also want to help the local government. I will explain with the coming slide. This slide also tell. So in recent years, I tried to change my job title. You know, when my two kids were at elementary school, their teacher always asks, what's your father's occupation? They reply, okay, disaster manager. Oh, your father is a firefighter. No. Oh, weatherman. No. Disaster manager. You know, about 15 years ago, disaster manager in Taiwan is still very new job, because they think disaster manager just rescue life or making kind of weather report on the TV channels, but never think another kind of the people working in EOC help decision making. But in recent year, I add one word in front of my job title: scientific disaster manager. Scientific disaster manager, because we want to use science and technology help for decision maker. So I used the picture to explain the role of my office. The first one is, of course, direction. Right now he's on the flight back to Delhi, sorry. But in case of the typhoon emergency operation, he was using our information system to explain the situation and the impact to Premier and the Minister of Interior. My boss, also the same as the Professor Wu from National Taiwan University. But in case of emergency, my director is so close to top decision maker. So this is why he always train us must speak very direct, very simple, very, very neat. Even when our president joined emergency operation, NCDR still have the report to her about the impact. So through that part, we receive credit from top government. So this is also help my government, help my office to get funds. So also another win-win situation to create a niche for my office to bury our concept into top decision maker. Even sometimes, president make a call to the chief staff, okay, please just ask the direction to talk and skip all the other presentation because our president think direction always to the point that can help she make decision. On the other hand, we also reach people in the community. This is example after Typhoon Morocco. The office were working at the community to build kind of the hazard map, to build kind of evacuation map for them. Traditionally, you think, oh, Mason, to draw the hazard map is an easy job. Use a Google map overlap with a lot of hazard map, you can produce the evacuation route for people. Yes, I agree, but sometimes it's useless because nobody understands. You cannot you cannot motivate people to join action. So in that case, my office, sometimes they spend 6 months together with local people. Most important part is listening. Most important part is about the participation and motivation. They want everyone to join kind of job. So community-based disaster risk reduction, sometimes we need a leader. We need good participation. And we also need good motivation that people think, yes, we have to do. So some other time I can also share some example how my office work in community. Another one, where is your office, Mason? My office is in this building. It's Union Developing Building at the border of the Taipei City and New Taipei City. In total, we have 17 floors. My office occupies 9 and 12 floors, part of 9, 12 floor. In case of emerging operation, NCDR will use this corner to explain situation awareness and impact assessment to decision maker. And we also join a meeting here with government agency together to find out good countermeasure to reduce casualty. For example, like a typhoon. So this is how NCDR can join the government framework for disaster risk management. So that's also important, give us the good way to build partnership with a lot of government agency. And this is the NCDR role in case of emergency operation, like a typhoon and earthquake. NCDR will be leader of this group, situation assessment group. You say, Wilson, what is the framework here? Actually, disaster management system in Taiwan is kind of combination from Japan and the US. And this is we call it ESF, emergency support function. In the past, we had so many government agencies work together, and the pronunciation by individual government agencies is very long and wordy. So we try to condense them. So introduce some idea from FEMA. It's called the emergency support function, and NCDR in charge one of the function. What is this one? NCDR have worked with so many government agencies together, like Water Resource Agency tell us about a lot of hydraulic information, like the reservoir operation, and National Fire Agency collect a lot of the report, like casualty, like the 911 call. The Highway Bureau gives us condition of the highway. And so and the Water Conservation Bureau tell us about the situation of the pollution flow. And the Central Weather Bureau for typhoon, they provide us a lot of the parameters so we can do some analysis. And most important thing, we have Office of Disaster Management under the Cabinet Office. They can disseminate our decision to the general public or local government. So NCDR is a kind of the agency. We will not make weather forecast to the general public. We will not tell anything to the general public unless we are authorized to do. But we help deliver a lot of information, intelligence with so many information together. You have proposed one question, Dr. Lee, you just agree everything. No, we had argument. We had a fighting. Why? Because sometimes we cannot reach kind of consensus immediately. But that is the beautiful part of emergency operation, because we want to have nothing missing. So kind of double check is the good progress. And actually we welcome kind of crossfire to make sure we want to make it better. So every year we have the workshop 2 times with our partner, one at the beginning of the flood season to tell everyone what is your improvement this year for typhoon operation. At the end of each year, we want to the key stakeholders to share their experience, what we didn't perform well this year, so we can take it back and do some improvement. So for the kind of the EOC, we kind of mechanism to operate. But you might ask, Dr. Lee, what's your job in EOC? Especially you describe yourself, scientific disaster manager. I will use this one to explain. For the typhoon, I think in the India, we call it cyclone. What is the major impact of cyclone or typhoon? Strong wind and torrential rain. For the wind, you might have the wind damage, storm surge. For the torrential rain, it might trigger flood or landslide, mudslide. Our job is to have impact about when, where, scale, and scope impact. So the kind of clear information we pass to emergency responder, so they can base the impact assessment, like do some like the pre-disaster deployment, like our Army will follow the suggestion to deploy troops to possibly affected area. In case of emergency, they can help. Likewise, military sector also help early evacuation to reduce possible impact. And also like the Water Resource Agency, they based on scientific output to deploy kind of pumping station in advance to lower impact of flood. So this is how we use the science for action. This is typical step about typhoon. We will divide our operation into 4 phases. Activation when we receive the sea warning of typhoon by Central Weather Bureau. We will start operation at my office. This phase we define as the risk phase because still a lot of uncertainties. We define it as the risk phase. For the phase 2, pre-disaster preparedness, when we receive level 1 operation of typhoon. So at this phase, we move to impact phase. We want to provide impact, like coming hours, where to have flood, where to have landslide, where possibly have isolated community. For the phase 3, during emergency operation, it's time we collect a lot of situation. We will collect a lot of reports or posts from the Facebook, from a lot of social media, and collect the information. Story map to tell about time and the spatial distribution of the event, and plus weather situation to understand the impact. The last one, we also help quick recovery, like map, like a lot of quick survey. So another very important thing, since we use science and technology, we must face uncertainty. So in our case, in our report, we not just use one forecast of Taiwan, CWB. We include forecasts from JTWC, the United States, JMA, Japan, KMA, Korea, even from mainland China, and from Hong Kong. Because we want to make sure through the all models, we consider all kind of the impact. From worst case to this case, we can give a clear image to decision maker what we should prepare. Where is the disaster hotspot? Our very important job, no matter for earthquake or typhoon, we always try to identify disaster hotspot. Tomorrow I'll have another talk about how we use information system to identify disaster hotspot after earthquake. So very important thing, time factor and the location factor. So for this one, we highlight the possible wind impact. So we give clear time and space location. So this also can help local decision maker to understand degree the risk, like the pink area is being high risk. The green area means the low risk. So we want to give the clear image of risk. I said, even our forecast on rain, we base on the different phases, like the approaching phase, approaching landfall phase and living phase. We give a clear risk about the flood. So after a few slides, you might ask, Dr. Lee, what is the business model of NCDR? In recent years, I realized one thing. It's somehow like the Uber and Airbnb. You know, Uber, they don't have their own taxi, right? Like Airbnb, they never have the real hotel. They just use information to do business. Like in my office, we don't have any hardware except servers. We don't install any sensor. But we collect a lot of information from different stakeholders. So our business is somehow like the Uber and Airbnb. And later, I realized another model also fit in office, over the top. What is over the top? I think everyone watch video on YouTube, on Netflix. This is plus. It's idea over the top. What is over the top? We never build real broadband network, but through over the top, we use existing broadband network. We can disseminate our information. So Uber is kind of how we massage, how we integrate information. Over the top is another way how we reach the end user, to use existing framework to build up the good public-private partnership to make use of information. So, you know, right now is information age. I don't know, in coming 10 years, there might be some new term to describe kind of collaboration. So very important at my office right now, I use this one to describe our information services. I call it N-to-1 and one-to-many. N-to-1, we emphasize using a lot of informations, no matter about traditional data. There are some non-traditional data, there's non-structured data I post on the Facebook or YouTube. A very important thing, because through kind of one unified body, we try to provide information to the different users. I give you an example about rain gauge data. To the citizen, they just want to know flood or not, evacuate or not. But for the decision maker, they want to know when I need to carry out the evacuation, where I can evacuation then. So though the same original data is about the rainfall, through the process, through the learning, we know for the different end user, we must provide different information intelligence. And this is another example I explained. Over the top for disseminate information intelligence, multiple channel to connect and reach end users. So this is a very important part in information age, especially right now we entered 5G, even 6G, even low orbit satellite. So we had more channel than before to reach the end user. But the question is how we deliver quality information intelligence for operation. But how my office reached the step. First one, we embrace open data platform, and we using CAP, Common Alerting Protocol, to standardize all the alert in Taiwan, no matter the public or private sector. Almost reached my time. So we try to use this one. The step two, we'll work with the Google. We disseminate our information on Google. Say why we use the Google. First, Google has big bandwidth, can accommodate many, many users at a time. And we don't need to train user to use Google Map because everyone knows how to use Google Map. So bandwidth and education. So once upon a time, our information merged with the Google process. But right now, if you travel in Taiwan, on Google Map, it will show you in front of you could be the kind of level 1 floods. So it's an example. You see, even the first 3 years, at least the 15 million users receive information from Google. So we save a lot of money for the government. They don't have use SMS message to inform end user. They just put the information on the Google, they can reach them. The step 3 is about the CBS, sound warning on the cell phone. My office also helped to deliver a lot of information on the cell phone. So this is the first time in Taiwan in the 2016, May 12th. The first time in Taiwan we use kind of cell phone to display earthquake early warning. Yes, we had the father of earthquake engineering here. And another challenge I think for a young generation can consider, because I travel a lot, so I ever received kind of alert in Taiwan. Okay, few Chinese, we have some English in Japan, in Korea, even in Philippines. I don't know about India. India use the cell phone to disseminate alert. Yes, they got a lot of challenge about for the foreigner to understand. So last step of my office, we use the instant message to reach out many users. Line. I think in India, most popular instant message is the WhatsApp. But in Taiwan, most of the popular one is Line. So my office work with Line company. We have the channel. In case of earthquake, in case of flood, we will push information on the Line channel. And our user can receive the information immediately. It's location-based, 22 local government, all different categories, so they can make kind of subscription, yes. And we have almost 1.4 million users subscribe our office. And I think I will end my talk with this last slide. Very important thing, enable engaged empowerment among the stakeholders, action and implementation. I think everyone knows this one. The data, information, knowledge and wisdom, we call it the DIKW model to build up our wisdom. But for disaster risk reduction, I add another element. It's about action. From science and technology, we produce a lot of data and information. Good, very good. But the problem is we need some transformation to make it into understandable knowledge. But understandable knowledge is not good enough. Why? We need the people good at telling a story, like interpretation, to change people's mindset so they can have wisdom. In case of emergency, they can take right action, so action. So I think this, the flow chart, tell my office job, provide data information, create knowledge, create wisdom through good interpretation, work at the community, but last one about action. So very important thing, we want to through the process to conduct DRR life cycle to build resilience. That is very important job, no matter from the current disaster management. I see a lot of future disaster management there. So I will end my talk here because about the 4:30. So because I have time tomorrow, I can continue my talk tomorrow. So see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. So any questions on the floor? No, good.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving such an insightful lecture. Now I request Professor Mukherjee to please come forward and honor Dr. Wei-Sun Lee with a memento as a token of appreciation. Thank you very much, ma'am. Now I would like to request Professor Sri Krishnan to give a brief overview about the workshop.
Thank you, Devlin. Thank you everyone for patiently listening to the lectures as well as some few insights from the inaugural of the program. So you all, I think, have this tentative schedule. Now it is not tentative, it is almost fixed. And we will have 4 technical lectures in the first half of tomorrow. And the first technical lecture will be delivered by Professor Yimin Wu from National Taiwan University, followed by a technical lecture 2 on the topic of need of EEWS, that is Earthquake Early Warning System, by Professor M. Sharma, Dean Finance and Planning, Department of Earthquake Engineering, IIT. Then after a tea break, we will follow with a third technical lecture by Dr. Weisan Lee, Secretary General NCDR Taiwan. And the fourth lecture 4 is, you may see in your schedule, UEEWS. I request all of you to please explore what is it. And the lecture will be delivered by Professor Kamal, Department of Earth Sciences, IIT Roorkee, as well as a joint faculty at the center. And I request all of you to please visit the Earthquake Early Warning System Laboratory in the third floor of this building. It is in the center, and you can gain more insights of the same. And after the lunch break, we will go into the main theme of the workshop, that is the hands-on training, for which I request all of you to please bring your laptop, and we will arrange for the power source here. Tomorrow's program entirely will happen in this auditorium only, but the program day after tomorrow will be delivered to you in lecture room 2 in the COP. It's in the third floor. There power access is not an issue, but we will see tomorrow. We'll provide you some extension cards for the power source for your laptop, and you have to be here with your laptops only in the afternoon session. For morning session, it's not required. And tomorrow's training, the data handling will be mainly delivered by Professor Emin Wu, supported by Dr. Weisan Lee, and also by Mr. Benjamin Nguyen. You may see here he's sitting in front. So that's the story for tomorrow. And day after tomorrow, it is continued by Mr. Benjamin Yang. So that will happen in the third floor of the center. So please be patient and please utilize this time for definitely running these programs or codes. Don't sit idle. So we request all of your conscious attention in the training given to you, because it's a good opportunity. And I request all of you to capitalize on this opportunity. Thank you very much. See you all tomorrow on 10 a.m. Thank you.